late April of 2020, in a moment of weakness and COVID-19 boredom, I bought some baby chicks. When I got home, I thought, what am I going to do with these chicks? My wife wasn't real pleased either. But seriously, how can you not like baby chicks? Now, I had a bit of a time crunch on my hands as baby chicks need to be moved to a permanent coop or run by their 7th or 8th week, and these chicks were already about 3 weeks old when I started. So one of the objectives of my chicken coop run was to recycle or repurpose old materials I had laying around my garage or back behind my shed. That was real important to try to keep costs down and try to get rid of some of these old materials. In addition to keeping my costs to a minimum, I had a large section of a second backyard that was a mess. Now, I thought the coop and the run might be able to enhance that area a little bit. A friend of mine had told me about a young YouTuber carpenter named April Wilkinson, and April had a couple of chicken coop designs on her website. I'll put the link below to those chicken coop designs, but I thought they were terrific. And so I took her ideas and turned it into my own, and here's what I came up with. Now here's a deeper look into the coop. This is the finished product, and as you can tell, it's got a nesting box and overhang with an asphalt roof. I had just replaced some fencing, and so I had some leftover fencing boards. One of the things that was kind of key to my coop is that I live in the Midwest, and cold is a big problem, so I needed to be able to let some air in the summer and kind of take out the cold in the winter. Those windows right there, I have some plexiglass covers for them when it gets wintertime. One of the designs of April's coop was a removable back panel, which I thought was ingenious, so I built that in. I'll show you more details on that in a minute. I also added kind of an external waterer through a PVC pipe into a large 5-gallon bucket. I'll show you a little bit more about that in a minute, especially where the water comes out and gives the chickens their cups. A couple of barrel bolts that hold this back panel in. Just slides out, and you can lift this kind of lightweight panel away from the chicken coop for cleaning and for accessing the inside of the coop. Here's the inside of the coop. Right now it's the temporary door that comes up and down. It's manual. Later on I'm going to add a kind of an automated feature to it once I figure out the mechanics on that. But here's inside the coop, and the goal is to kind of keep this little board there to keep all the shavings and all the droppings and pine shavings in, and lift that out and scoop it out when I need to clean the coop. Inside the coop, I have put a 3mm plastic on all the walls and then covered that up with all recycled material. That's why it looks like a patchwork. I've also added a light in there to bring them in at night. That is the nesting box. It's covered up right now because they can't use it till they're about 20 weeks old. And this is the area that will be the electronics. Right now it just has a timer to turn the light on and off to bring them into the coop at night. I'll also have some roosting bars. I've modified these a little bit since the video to give them a kind of a different place to sit. As I mentioned, regulating temperature is going to be a big deal with this coop. It's got a nice asphalt roof, which will help keep it warm. But I also added this window that April had in her chicken coop, and this will help me to regulate in the winter. I'll have to open it somewhat, but I'll be able to manage it a little bit. And so it will be real helpful to kind of manage it. This is the lower half of the coop. As I mentioned earlier, The nesting box is not in use right now. It's some repurposed old shutters. I've just got them kind of set up right now for when we do use it. That kind of a trim on the outside there is an ectoskeleton to kind of keep the shutters together that were in pretty rough shape and are falling apart. Little hook here. I'll try this at the beginning. I'll probably change this up a little bit as we get into the chickens laying eggs and putting, different ways of trying to get the eggs out and dealing with the nesting area. I've also got some trim there. This is the run that I built. It's about 11 and a half feet long and about 4.5 feet wide. My coop is 5 by 4, 6 by 4, somewhere in between there. Not quite on because of the materials that I had repurposed. But one of the important things I think that I've discovered since building this is that having a door is really important, and having a really large spring on that door is also important. Here are my chicks. Run away, we're afraid. Wait a minute. Come back, we're not afraid. Anyway, this is inside the coop. I've laid down some grass clippings as their flooring, and I'll kind of rake those up once a week to keep the droppings down. This is their entrance into the coop and their ladder into the coop. I built this little trapeze here to give them something to do. It's a little tall right now. They're not quite big enough to get on it, but they will when they get older. The coop door is a little large, but when they get bigger, they're going to have trouble fitting through there because some of these chickens get quite large. Below the deck area is the waterer that I mentioned, and an 8-pound feeder. A terrific feeder, holds about 7.5 pounds of feed. And just hangs there. You don't have to fill it up very often. Here's the waterer. You can see the little red plastic cups you can get off the internet. They automatically fill up after the chickens drink from them. Just a terrific solution, and I found that on the internet. Again, the feeder has worked out really, really well. I recommend having something like that. And of course, here's the view of inside the coop from the chicken run. It's got a little overhang there. Here's the other side of the chicken run from kind of a reverse angle. I'd already put down a kind of a dust bath pan there for them to play in. They have about 16.5 feet total space, including underneath the coop, to run. That's worked out really well. They're really happy about it. And again, here's a view of that back panel that pops on and off really easily when I need to get it off. I have used just traditional chicken wire, but one thing to note is that I've buried it about 14 to 17 inches deep below the 2x4s that comprise the chicken run, and that has already proved to be valuable as raccoons have tried to get into it. Here are my chickens. I've got some brown, what they're called Bovan Browns, and some golden lace Wynuts. These are the Bovan Browns. They're a pretty versatile chicken, big chicken layer, and these are the golden lace Wynuts. They're a good cold weather bird and dual purpose, both a good egg layer and are sometimes used for meat. I don't think we'll ever use our chickens for meat, but there they are. So here are my chickens. Here's my chicken run, and I hope you enjoyed my little video.